every single one of us carries two versions within. One is the strong version, the one that is disciplined, focused, and determined to grow no matter the obstacles. And then there is the weak version, the one that hides in the shadows of our excuses, the one that whispers, "You're too tired," the one that convinces us to delay our dreams for another day that never comes. This weak version is not unique to you. It exists in every human being. It's not a flaw, it's part of human nature. But the danger lies in how often we allow this weaker self to take the driver's seat of our lives. Think about this. How many times have you promised yourself that tomorrow you will start working on that goal? Tomorrow you will exercise. Tomorrow you will study harder. Tomorrow you will change your habits. And yet, when tomorrow comes, that weak version of you suddenly wakes up louder than ever. It tells you, you've worked hard enough. You deserve a break. You can start next week, next month, or maybe when life feels easier. And deep down, you know it's lying to you, because life never gets easier. It is only you who must grow stronger. The weak version doesn't appear as a monster or a villain. It shows up in small, comfortable choices that feel harmless in the moment, but become destructive over time. It's the decision to stay in bed for 5 more minutes. That turns into an hour. It's the decision to binge watch a show instead of working on your skills. It's the decision to complain instead of finding solutions. The weak version thrives in these small choices because it knows they pile up silently until they define your entire lifestyle. And here's the truth most people don't like to hear: your weak version is clever. It knows how to disguise itself. Sometimes it sounds logical. It says, you need rest, when you've already rested enough. It says, you don't have enough time, while you're wasting hours on distractions. It even says, you'll never succeed anyway, trying to plant doubt so that you quit before you even start. If you listen closely, you'll realize that the weak version of you is not only holding you back, it is actively stealing your potential. We all dream of success, but dreams mean nothing when the weak version controls our decisions. That side of us does not want progress, it only wants comfort. But comfort is temporary. The cost of comfort is regret. And regret is heavier than any struggle, heavier than any pain, heavier than any sacrifice. Think about the times you listened to that weak version and later felt angry at yourself. That burning frustration comes from knowing you betrayed your own potential. That feeling is not just disappointment. It's the voice of the strong version trying to break free. You see, the weak version will always exist inside you. You can't erase it because it's part of being human, but recognizing it, understanding how it operates when it speaks and how it tricks you. That is the first step toward change. Most people never take this step. They think weakness belongs to other people, not to them. They pretend they are already doing their best, when in reality they are controlled by comfort and fear. But the ones who grow, the ones who achieve, the ones who rise above, are the ones who learn to identify their weak version and say, I know you're here, but I refuse to let you win today. The weak version lives in all of us. It's the part of you that is satisfied with average, that fears failure, that avoids discomfort. But it is also the signal that tells you growth is possible. Because every time that weak version whispers, it creates an opportunity, a moment where you can either surrender or rise. Comfort is a silent killer. Comfort is the most dangerous drug in the world. And the worst part is, you don't even realize you're addicted until it's too late. Unlike failure, unlike pain, unlike struggle, comfort doesn't hurt you immediately. It doesn't alarm you. It feels safe. It feels warm. It feels deserved. But while you're sinking deeper into it, comfort is slowly stealing your ambition, your hunger, and your fire. When people imagine what destroys dreams, they think of big events, tragedy, betrayal, bad luck, or failure. But the truth is, most dreams don't die in explosions. They die in silence. They die when a person chooses what's easy over what's necessary. They die when a person says, I'll do it later, one too many times. They die when someone gets too comfortable and no longer pushes themselves to grow. Comfort doesn't kill with a knife. It kills with a pillow. Slowly, softly, silently, until your spirit suffocates without you even noticing. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Was it when you were comfortable? Or was it when you were pushed to the edge, when you were uncomfortable? When you had no choice but to rise above? Growth never happens in comfort zones. Growth only happens when you challenge yourself, when you push beyond what feels easy. Comfort whispers, stay here, you're fine. But greatness shouts, move, or you'll never know what's possible. Comfort has another dangerous trick. It convinces you that you're making progress when you're really standing still. You wake up, go through the motions, and feel like you're busy, but you're not building anything meaningful. You're just maintaining. And maintaining is nothing more than slowly declining. Life is like a river. If you're not swimming forward, the current will drag you backward. Comfort tells you you're safe on the shore, but what it doesn't tell you is that the shore is where dreams go to die. People often say they want success, but when it comes time to sacrifice comfort, they hesitate. They want the reward without the discomfort. They want the body without the sweat, the business without the risk, the respect without the discipline. But life doesn't work that way. Comfort is always the price you pay for progress. Every person who has achieved something great has had to give up the illusion of safety and step into the unknown. The weak version clings to comfort, but the strong version knows that true fulfillment lives on the other side of struggle. The scariest part about comfort is how it disguises itself as happiness. You sit on the couch, watch your favorite shows, order food instead of cooking, skip the hard task because you deserve a break. In the moment, it feels like happiness. But deep inside, you know it's not, because at night, when the distractions fade and you're left with yourself, there's an emptiness. That emptiness is the cost of comfort. That emptiness is your potential reminding you that you are capable of more, but you chose less. And here's what makes comfort lethal. It doesn't just slow you down. It makes you forget who you could have been. You stop dreaming as big. You stop pushing as hard. You stop demanding excellence from yourself. Little by little, comfort makes you accept an average life when you were born for more. Comfort doesn't just take away your actions. It takes away your vision. If you want proof, just look around. Look at the number of people who stay in jobs they hate because it's comfortable. Look at how many people waste their best years scrolling, watching, and waiting because it's comfortable. Look at how many talents, ideas, and dreams never see the light of day because people chose comfort over courage. This world isn't filled with people who tried and failed. It's filled with people who never tried at all because comfort made them believe they didn't need to. Comfort is not your friend. It's not protecting you. It's protecting your weakness. It's building walls around your potential, keeping you small, keeping you stuck, keeping you the same. And if you allow it, comfort will bury you alive while convincing you that you're living. The power of facing the mirror. The hardest person in the world to face is not your boss, not your parents, not your critics, and not even your enemies. The hardest person to face is the one staring back at you in the mirror, because the mirror never lies. The mirror reflects the truth of your choices, your habits, and your actions. You can put on a mask for the world. You can fool others with excuses. But when you stand in front of that mirror, you know whether you've been honest with yourself or not. Most people avoid the mirror, not because they don't like how they look, but because they don't like what it reminds them of. It reminds them of the promises they've broken to themselves. It reminds them of the goals they've abandoned, the potential they've wasted, and the person they could have been. And that reflection, that silent witness, is often too painful to confront. So what do? We cover it up. We distract ourselves with noise, entertainment, work, or endless business. Anything to avoid that moment of self-confrontation. But until you face the mirror with honesty, you will always live in denial. And denial is the cage where weakness thrives. Facing the mirror is not about appearance, it's about accountability. It's about asking yourself the raw, unfiltered questions. Am I giving my best? Am I making excuses? Am I proud of the person I'm becoming? These are not easy questions, and that's why so few people ask them. But those who dare to ask, those who dare to stand naked in front of their own truth, are the ones who begin the journey of killing the weak version of themselves. The weak version hates the mirror because it exposes its lies. It says, you worked hard today, when in reality you wasted hours. It says, you're doing your best, when deep down you know you held back. The mirror strips away the disguise and shows you exactly where you are. And though it's uncomfortable, that discomfort is powerful. Because the first step to growth is not change, it's awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. Think about how many people set goals every New Year's Eve. They write them down, they speak them out loud, they feel motivated in that moment. But by February, the goals are forgotten, replaced by old habits. Why? Because they never face the mirror consistently. They never check in with themselves honestly. They lie to themselves about progress, and over time, those lies become their reality. The truth is, you don't need more goals, you need more honesty. You need to look at yourself daily and ask, am I moving forward or standing still? The mirror is not your enemy, it is your mentor. It doesn't judge you, it shows you what's real. And what's real is the most powerful place to start. Because once you admit where you are, you can finally start working toward where you want to be. The strongest people are not the ones who never fail, they are the ones who refuse to lie to themselves when they do. They stand in front of the mirror, own their failures, and use that truth as fuel. And let me tell you, there is nothing more freeing than being honest with yourself. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to act like you're further ahead than you are. You simply accept the truth. This is me today. I can be better tomorrow. That level of self-ownership destroys weakness. Because weakness feeds on denial, but strength feeds on truth. Every time you look in the mirror, you are given a choice. You can turn away and stay comfortable in the lies, or you can confront the reflection and ignite the fire of accountability. The weak version will beg you to avoid it. The strong version will beg you to face it. And the decision you make in that silent moment determines everything that follows. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is exciting, but it is unreliable. It comes like a spark, bright, powerful, and emotional. But it fades just as quickly. How many times have you watched an inspiring video, read a powerful book, or listened to a great speech, and in that moment felt unstoppable? You swore to yourself, this is it. From tomorrow, I'll change my life. And maybe for a day or two, you actually did. You woke up earlier, you worked harder, you felt alive. But then the spark dimmed, the energy disappeared, and you found yourself back in the same habits wondering, what happened? The answer is simple, you were relying on motivation instead of discipline. Motivation depends on feelings, and feelings are fragile. Some days you feel strong, some days you feel weak. Some mornings you wake up ready to fight, and other mornings you can't even drag yourself out of bed. If your progress depends only on how you feel, you will never reach consistency, because feelings are never consistent. Discipline, however, does not ask you how you feel. Discipline is the decision to act regardless of emotion. Discipline says, I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're unmotivated. I don't care if you'd rather stay in bed. You will do what you said you would do. The truth is, discipline builds champions. Every great athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every high performer in any field will tell you the same thing. They are not always motivated. They don't always feel like training, working, or grinding. But they do it anyway because they've trained themselves to rely on discipline, not moods. That is the difference between the average and the exceptional. The average person waits for motivation. The exceptional person builds discipline. Discipline is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. At first, it feels painful. Forcing yourself to wake up early, to exercise when you're exhausted, to focus when distractions are pulling at you, it feels heavy. But just like lifting weights, every repetition makes you stronger. Over time, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like power. Because you realize you are no longer controlled by your moods, your laziness, or your excuses. You are in control. That realization is liberating. Here's something powerful. Discipline doesn't just help you reach your goals. It transforms your identity. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you prove that you are dependable. You start to see yourself differently. You start to trust yourself. And once you build that self-trust, you become unstoppable because you no longer rely on external motivation to push you. You have internal strength pulling you forward. Think of discipline as the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. On one side of the bridge stands the person you are today, with your current habits, your current struggles, your current weaknesses. On the other side stands the person you dream of being, stronger, more confident, more successful. Motivation might push you to step onto the bridge, but only discipline will carry you across it. Without discipline, you will always turn back halfway. And the weak version of you knows this. That's why it constantly whispers, wait until you feel ready. Wait until the timing is perfect. Wait until you're motivated. But deep down, you already know. If you wait for motivation, you'll wait forever. Nothing changes until you build the habit of showing up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's boring, repetitive, and often uncomfortable. But it is in those boring, repetitive actions that transformation happens. Writing every day, training every day, learning every day, saving money every day. These are not dramatic, but they build the future. The weak version of you craves excitement. The strong version of you craves consistency. That is why discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you moving when the excitement fades. Motivation might lift you for a moment, but discipline carries you for a lifetime. Failure is fuel failure. It's the word most people fear, the experience most people try to avoid, and the label most people cannot bear. But failure, when understood correctly, is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your hidden ally, the fuel that powers growth. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not that the successful never fail. It's that they use failure differently. Where the weak version of you sees failure as a reason to quit, the strong version of you sees it as proof that progress is happening. Think about it. Nobody learns to walk without falling. Nobody learns to speak without stumbling over words. Nobody masters a skill without first struggling through mistakes. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway to success. Every failure carries a message, a lesson, a clue, but you only find that clue if you are willing to look beyond the pain and frustration. The weak version of you feels embarrassed by failure and hides from it. The strong version examines failure, learns from it, and grows stronger because of it. Here's the harsh reality: if you are not failing, you are not trying hard enough. Comfort protects you from failure, but it also protects you from growth. The people who live inside their comfort zone rarely fail, but they also rarely achieve anything worth remembering. On the other hand, the ones who risk failure are the ones who break limits, who discover new strengths, who write stories that inspire others. Failure is not a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that you're stretching yourself beyond the ordinary. But why do so many of us fear failure? Because failure hurts. It hurts our pride. It hurts our confidence. It hurts the image we want to show the world. We live in a society that celebrates wins and hides losses. So when we fail, we think we are broken, different, or less than others. Yet, if you study any person who has achieved greatness, you'll discover that their success story is really a long chain of failures. Failures that taught them lessons no book, no speech, and no shortcut ever could. Think of failure as feedback. When you touch a hot stove, the pain is feedback. It teaches you not to touch it again. In the same way, every failure is feedback on your journey. It tells you what doesn't work, what needs improvement, where to focus your effort next time. If you avoid failure, you avoid feedback. And without feedback, you stay blind to your weaknesses. That blindness is far more dangerous than the sting of failure. The strong version of you welcomes failure because it knows that failure builds resilience. Each time you fail and rise again, you prove to yourself that you are not fragile. You prove that you can take a hit and keep moving. Resilience is not built by winning every time. It is built by falling and refusing to stay down. Every scar from failure is not a mark of shame. It is a badge of strength, proof that you dared, proof that you tried, proof that you are alive in the fight. Failure also humbles you. It strips away arrogance and forces you to look honestly at your flaws. While success can make people careless and overconfident, failure grounds them. It reminds you that you are a student, always learning, always growing, and that humility becomes the soil where wisdom grows. The weak version of you runs from this humility because it doesn't want to feel small, but the strong version embraces it because humility opens the door to mastery. Most importantly, failure creates hunger. Once you taste defeat, once you feel the sting of falling short, something inside you begins to burn. That burning is fuel. It pushes you to train harder, prepare smarter, and fight longer. Success may taste sweet, but it rarely teaches you. Failure, however, teaches you everything: discipline, patience, endurance, creativity, and the hunger to rise. So, failure is not the end. Failure is the fire. The weak version of you will see it as destruction, but the strong version of you will recognize it as transformation. Surround yourself with fire. No matter how strong your will is, no matter how powerful your goals are, you cannot rise to your full potential if you are surrounded by the wrong people and the wrong environment. Human beings are shaped by influence. The voices around you, the habits you see every day, the standards of the people closest to you. All of these either feed your weak version or feed your strong version. That is why who and what you surround yourself with matters more than you think. Think about it: when you spend time with people who complain, you start to complain. When you're surrounded by people who are lazy, you start to lower your standards. When your environment rewards comfort, it becomes harder to chase growth. It's not because you're weak, it's because humans naturally adapt to their surroundings. If the air around you is filled with smoke, you will breathe it in whether you want to or not. The same is true with the energy of the people and places you spend your time in. That is why you must surround yourself with fire. Fire is energy. Fire is hunger. Fire is drive. When you are around people who burn with ambition, with discipline, with focus, their flames light something inside you. Their actions push you. Their standards challenge you. Their words spark your courage. It becomes almost impossible to stay weak in the presence of fire because their example exposes your excuses. Think about athletes training together. Alone, they might slow down. Alone, they might cut corners. But in the presence of teammates who are pushing, running, sweating, and giving everything, they cannot help but rise. That is the power of fire. It makes you better without even asking for your permission. The energy of the group lifts the individual. The same applies to every area of life. Surround yourself with people who are disciplined, and discipline will start to feel natural. Surround yourself with dreamers, and dreaming big will become your default. Surround yourself with winners, and winning will stop feeling like an impossible dream and start feeling like a standard. But fire is not only people, it is also environment. Look at the space where you live, the habits you practice, the content you consume. Are these things pushing you forward or keeping you stuck? If your environment is filled with distractions, noise, and comfort, don't be surprised when your weak version dominates. But if your environment is designed for focus, books instead of endless scrolling, reminders of your goals instead of temptations, energy instead of laziness, you will notice how much easier it becomes to stay on track. Fire is contagious, but so is weakness. This is why the weak version of you loves environments that feel easy. It wants friends who encourage your excuses, habits that kill your discipline, and surroundings that make you forget your purpose. But the strong version of you knows that if you want to grow, you need to step into the fire. It's uncomfortable at first. It feels intimidating. You may even feel like you don't belong. But that's how you know you're in the right place. Growth never happens where you feel comfortable. It happens where you feel challenged. Surrounding yourself with fire also means being intentional about who you listen to. The voices in your head are shaped by the voices around you. If all you hear is negativity, gossip, and fear, that is the soundtrack of your life. But if you fill your mind with wisdom, positivity, and boldness, those words will echo when you need them most. You don't need everyone around you to understand your journey, but you do need a few who ignite your spirit instead of dimming it. The truth is, no one rises alone. Even the strongest individuals are carried by the fire of others. Mentors, friends, role models, even rivals who push them to do more. If you truly want to kill the weak version of yourself, you must create an environment where weakness cannot survive. A place where the fire of discipline, ambition, and courage burns so brightly that the weak version has no choice but to wither away. Choose who wins daily. Every single day of your life is a battlefield. On one side stands the strong version of you, the disciplined, focused, resilient self who is hungry for growth. On the other side stands the weak version, the lazy, fearful, excuse-driven self who wants nothing but comfort. Both are inside you, both wake up with you. Both are ready to fight for control of your actions. The truth is, you cannot eliminate either side completely. But what you can do is decide every single day who gets to win. This battle is not fought once in a lifetime. It is fought in the small, ordinary moments of your daily life. When the alarm goes off in the morning, the weak version tells you to hit snooze. The strong version tells you to rise. When it's time to work on your goals, the weak version whispers, "Do it later," while the strong version pushes, "Do it now." When you face failure, the weak version says, "Quit," and the strong version says, "Learn." These moments may seem small, but they stack up. Each choice is a vote for which version of you grows stronger. Here's the reality: whichever version you feed will dominate your life. If you consistently give in to laziness, procrastination, and excuses, the weak version gains strength, and before long it takes over completely. On the other hand, if you consistently choose discipline, courage, and effort, the strong version becomes powerful, and it begins to lead your life automatically. Success is not one massive decision. It is the accumulation of small daily victories over your weaker self. The problem for many people is that they wait for the big moment to prove themselves. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the grand stage, the once-in-a-lifetime chance to rise. But life doesn't work like that. Life tests you in the small, hidden moments that no one else sees. It tests you when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when no one is clapping for you, when no one is watching. That is where the real battle happens. And whoever you allow to win in those quiet moments will decide who you become in the bigger ones. Think about it. Your habits are nothing more than the outcome of repeated daily choices. You don't suddenly wake up disciplined. You become disciplined by choosing the strong version of you, day after day. You don't suddenly wake up successful. You become successful by making thousands of small decisions that favor growth over weakness. Every single day, you're either building momentum toward your best self or digging a deeper hole for your weaker self. The weak version is persuasive. It knows exactly how to tempt you. It says, one day off won't hurt. It says, this shortcut is fine. It says, you deserve comfort today. But the danger is that one day off becomes two, the shortcut becomes a habit, and comfort becomes a lifestyle. Before you know it, years have passed, and the strong version of you has been silenced. That is why the daily battle is so important. You cannot let weakness accumulate, because once it builds momentum, it's hard to stop. The strong version, on the other hand, speaks differently. It doesn't promise ease, it promises growth. It says, do the hard thing today, and you will thank yourself tomorrow. It says, push through the discomfort now, and you will be stronger for it later. It speaks less loudly than the weak version, but its voice is steady, firm, and true. The more you listen to it, the more confidence you build, and the easier it becomes to silence the weak version. So every morning when you wake up, remind yourself, today is not about perfection. Today is about choosing who wins. One choice at a time, one action at a time, one small victory at a time. Because life is not decided in a single moment. It is decided in the collection of daily battles you fight against yourself. And those battles determine the person you become. Kill that weak version of yourself. You've heard it now. The weak version lives in you. Comfort is its weapon. The mirror is its greatest enemy. Discipline is the sword that cuts it down. Failure is the fire that strengthens you. Your environment either feeds it or starves it. And every single day, the choice of who wins is in your hands. This is not about one big moment that changes everything. It's about thousands of small, daily decisions that either build your strength or bury your potential. The weak version of you wants to drag you into a life of regret, excuses, and wasted potential. The strong version of you wants to lift you into a life of discipline, courage, and achievement. Only one of them will survive, and that depends on what you do right now. Stop waiting for tomorrow. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop telling yourself you'll start when life gets easier. Life will not get easier. You must get stronger. The weak version of you must be killed today, not someday. Because every day you delay, it grows louder, stronger, more comfortable in control. And every day you rise, fight, and push back, the strong version grows closer to becoming who you truly are. So stand up, face the mirror, break free from comfort, build your discipline, learn from failure, surround yourself with fire, and above all, win the battle within, tomorrow and every day that follows. Because the greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over the world outside, but over the weakness inside. Kill that weak version of yourself. The strong version is waiting.